shouted insults and racial slurs to outright physical assaults. I've attended a whole bunch of rallies against Asian American violence over the past few weeks, and you'd be heartsick to hear the stories shared, the fear in the voices of Asian American citizens, to listen to the way they've changed their daily lives to avoid the subway or stay indoors most of the day. The surge of anti-Asian violence is revolting and sadly contains the echoes of dark chapters in our history, when Asian Americans were subject to widespread bigotry and discrimination. The poison of racism has always existed in America, but unfortunately, over the past 4 years, it seems to have found new life. There is no question that the former president fanned the flames of racial bias in our country and too often encouraged, let alone discouraged, the vicious slander that connected COVID-19 to the people of Asian descent. Every day in America, in this 21st century America, Asian Americans fear they might be insulted, assaulted, spat upon, or even worse. As Americans, we must stand up and do something about it. The foundation of our pluralistic society is that an attack on one group is an attack on all of us. So tomorrow, the Senate will vote on whether to take up and debate Senator Hirono's anti-Asian hate crimes bill sponsored by Representative Meng in the House. This bill is unobjectionable as it could be. It would designate a point person at the Justice Department to identify hate crimes towards Asian Americans related to COVID-19, telling federal law enforcement to make these hate crimes a top priority during the pandemic. This isn't some kind of gotcha legislation. It's not some complex new program or appropriation. This is as straightforward as it gets. This is legislation our times demand. Of course, we're opening to strengthening the bill. I understand there's an effort underway to add bipartisan legislation called the No Hate Act, sponsored by Senators Blumenthal and Moran, one Democrat, one Republican, as an amendment. And I fully support that effort. The Blumenthal-Moran bill would provide resources to state and local enforcement to improve hate crimes reporting, increase training, while also improving education to root out the bias that fuels these despicable acts. That makes perfect sense as a bipartisan amendment to Senator Hirono's legislation. And I believe that combating hate against the Asian American community should be thoroughly, if not unanimously, bipartisan. Congress can send a strong signal in one loud, clear voice that these kinds of hate crimes will not be tolerated. The way to do it is for 60 senators to vote to proceed to the bill tomorrow. I sure hope it'll be more than 60. And then it is my intention to make the first amendment to the bill the bipartisan No Hate Act. But in order to offer the amendment, the Senate must vote to proceed with the debate on the bill. President Biden has called on Congress to swiftly pass Senator Hirono's legislation, to get it to his desk for signature as soon as possible. There is no good reason the Senate can't complete the task this week. Now on another matter. Beyond Senator Hirono's legislation, the Senate is also focused this week on confirming an impressive slate of nominees to the Biden administration. I'm especially pleased that in a few hours, the Senate will vote to confirm Polly Trottenberg to serve as Deputy Secretary of Transportation. This is great news for New York and great news for the country. Her credentials are beyond doubt. For the last 7 years, she has served as New York City's Commissioner of Transportation, managing a transportation system that helps tens of millions of people get to and from work, connects businesses to customers, and brings life to one of America's largest and most visited cities every single day. Before that, Polly served in the Department of Transportation under President Obama, advising policymakers and working with stakeholders across the country on everything, from high-speed rail to roads, highways, and bridges. And of course, her nomination is especially meaningful to me. Polly served for nearly a decade as my legislative director and transportation advisor. She knows the needs of the country, and she knows the needs of New York. and a pet project so important to New York Gateway will be well served in her capable hands. We will get this done. Take it from me. Polly's got smarts, she's got savvy, she's got moxie, and she knows how to work with people of all backgrounds to get things done for the American people. And, Mr. President, there isn't a moment to lose. As we work to defeat the COVID-19 pandemic and bring our economy fully back online, we must look ahead to tackle the challenges of our time. And at the top of the list is finally getting serious about addressing our nation's crumbling infrastructures, a topic that Ms. Trottenberg is very familiar with. And for New York, as I mentioned, this means continuing to move the ball forward on projects like Gateway, rebuilding the 2 rail tunnels under the Hudson, perhaps the most important transportation infrastructure priority in the entire nation, and something I've spoken to Ms. Trottenberg and Secretary Buttigieg and President Biden about regularly. But our infrastructure woes extend to every city and every state in the country. Roads, bridges, highways, airports, public transit, housing, the electric grid are all in need of an overhaul. So too does our country need to invest in the infrastructure of the 21st century. Broadband internet access, 5G, electric vehicles. America cannot compete in this century if our infrastructure is stuck in the last century. That's why, in addition to confirming important nominees like Ms. Trottenberg, the Senate will continue to work with the Biden administration on a comprehensive infrastructure and jobs bill. If there's an issue that ought to unite Democrats and Republicans, it's putting people to work to update our nation's infrastructure. I yield the floor. And note the absence of a quorum.
Clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.